Frekvenca za logistiko slovenskega logističnega združenja.
So, Mr. Florian Abel, you come from Hermes Germany. Tell us something about your project.
Well, our project is about turning the entire city of Hamburg emissions-free. So meaning that we switch from regular combustion engine vehicles on the last mile, we're talking about the last mile, and we switch to electric vans and cargo bikes, which is a very special kind of bike for parcel delivery. And our project is that we cover the entire city of Hamburg with those vehicles, which is over 200 vehicles for the entire city of Hamburg, which is our big flagship project towards decarbonizing our entire operations. And it was a huge milestone for us because it's the biggest project yet we have done, and also for the entire industry, at least in Germany. I think it's a role model how to decarbonize.
Mm-hmm. Have you started the project yet?
It's completed.
It's completed?
It's completed. It's fully in operation.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what I think it makes it special. It's no marketing, it's no plan, but it's proven, it's working.
Mm-hmm.
And we have made lots of experiences along the way.
Okay, so tell us something about these experiences. How long did it take you to do that? How did you decide, and how did you motivate the people and the whole society of Hamburg?
Yeah, so it's part of a bigger goal. So what we are aiming for is that we transform 80 cities in Germany until the end of 2025 to emissions-free delivery. Mm-hmm. But it's mostly this city center for those cities. So we had some experiences out of this project. We have turned now 58 cities into emissions-free delivery. And we said to ourselves, okay, we want to go one step further, because the city center is of course nice, but it's only one small part of a big city such as Hamburg. Mm-hmm. And we said, okay, we want to go one step further, have a more ambitious project, and also be able to learn, because what we experienced with the cities already is that it's new. The technology is new, the vehicles are new, the operations are new. You need to care about charging infrastructure, for example. Mm-hmm. It's a totally different process of managing logistics operations. So we said, okay, we want to have it on a bigger scale, and this drove us to turn our home city emissions-free. And it was quite some obstacles we had to overcome. The biggest one would probably be that for such a vast number of vehicles, we could not use our current logistics sites, because we had multiple sites across Hamburg to cover all of the city. And we were just not able to electrify those sites because there was just not enough power in the street. So we had to find a new solution. And our solution is that we built our own charging park with approximately 100 charging points. And then we moved and relocated all the different sites and bundled it into one site. And we are working with logistic partners on the last mile. So it was really a team effort, because we had to take our partners on board. We had to motivate them and also convince, because as you can imagine, they had some doubts, and some were maybe a bit afraid even, because they had to turn their entire fleet electric and just didn't know what to expect. So we had to take them along, explain a lot, and also motivate to have them join our effort.
So you don't run the two systems now. One is abolished. It's completely electrical now.
Yes, exactly. We turn it all electric to be able to learn what it means to work in such a new solution, basically.
So how many vehicles do you have now? How did you introduce them? What kind of technology do you have?
So we are in Hamburg mostly focused on electric vans. So the system is scaled up to 240 vehicles. As you know, parcel deliveries fluctuate along the year. Christmas is a lot more than during the summer. And also in economic weak times, it's maybe a bit less. So currently we are around 200 vehicles in operation, but we have the spots to increase it even more. And we have some smaller portion, a handful of cargo bikes even, which is, to me personally, a very nice solution, actually, because it's a bicycle logistics. But the problem is, if you want to operate those bicycles, you need small micro depots in the city, all across the city. And we just were not able to find a large number of those sites. So we had to focus, for Hamburg at least, for the electric vans. But we have different projects, for example, in Berlin, where we have a large number of cargo bikes, because we have the proper logistics site. So you can already see it has a lot to do with what sites we can have, what logistic sites, and what kind of properties they have. So is it in the city center? Does it have enough energy? A lot of new challenges, I would say, we have to face.
Are the vehicles that you use produced in Germany?
Well, we're using Daimler for some, but we're not fixed on one manufacturer. So we source from different manufacturers. The cargo bikes we are sourcing are mainly from Germany, and we have one bigger brand we're using, for example, and there, which is also part of our project, so to say, we were a driver for technology, because when we started with the cargo bikes a few years back, there were no cargo bikes. And we wanted to turn to a bicycle logistics, but I mean, we could not make our people delivering the parcels use their private bike and use maybe a big backpack, so that wouldn't work. So we had interaction with the different manufacturers to really allow them to develop their technology and to understand what we as a parcel delivery company really need in our daily operations.
Is the German automobile industry able to produce these kind of vehicles to support you, or do you have to use some Chinese technology, Chinese vehicles?
Well, as I said, we're not fixed on it, but what we have seen is that also for the electric vans now, a few years back, all the manufacturers were not really able to produce the vehicles we needed. They were only lasting for 50 kilometers in winter, even less. But you don't want to have your people freezing in the winter and don't allow them to turn on the heating. So that was a big problem. And there was a lot of skepticism also from the colleagues, because they said, okay, can we really turn to this technology or not? So we had to convince a lot to stay on board and to go the way further. But luckily, all the manufacturers advanced in producing better vehicles. So now range, for example, is not a problem anymore. And we're expecting even better range and also larger vehicles, because we need also large delivery vehicles. So there's great progress.
So the auto industry in Germany is now facing a little bit of crisis. Is this the opportunity for this industry?
Well, difficult to say, I would say, but what we are looking for is that cost goes down and the features go up. So maybe this will help also to push even the German industry a bit further, because the Chinese or abroad companies are, of course, very strong. And in the end, we as not such a big player, of course, we are reliant that they take their steps and progress. And what we can see is that for the trucks, we also use electric trucks, for example. It's even a bigger problem, because the whole industry, regardless of German or overseas manufacturers, is not where we want them yet, because they're lacking cost situation, but also range, for example. So we're hoping the whole industry will develop.
So let's talk about the capacity of batteries, especially in winter times. How did you overcome problems with that?
Patience, I would have to say. Constant feedback also. And it's just what I said earlier, and you're putting the finger into the right spot, of course. It used to be a big problem because it was just not powerful enough to generate the ranges we needed. And one thing is, if you talk about a short city center route for our logistics, but of course we have also the countryside where vehicles maybe need to go even much further. So this is why also we focus with our first strategic framework covering the 80 inner cities on the inner cities, because it was suited to what the technology was able to provide in terms of ranges and other features. So this is why this is our starting point, and we did not start with the vast countryside where we wouldn't be able to use the vehicles. But now we're progressing very well, and we see ranges of 200 kilometers, 300 coming up. So the battery has improved a lot, or the whole system of battery and vehicle in total.
So your filling stations for the batteries are among 100 kilometers, 50, 10 apart?
The infrastructure, you mean, where we charge?
Yes.
It's very different. It's of course the biggest prerequisite for success, because if we cannot charge our vehicles, we cannot run them. So it's a big concern for us, and we were actually hoping to find external charging opportunities all across Germany, in every city, wherever we need it. But at least for Germany, it's the way that we don't have a vast net of charging infrastructure, and especially none that's suitable to a logistic provider's needs, because we cannot have individual charging points all across the city. It just wouldn't be suitable for our operations. And also, we need reliability. So if there's private people charging their car and we need our car to be charged, to be ready next day, but we cannot access the charging point, it wouldn't work. So this is why we are currently now focused on projects like Hamburg, a vast own charging operation, so we can reliably charge our vehicles whenever we want. But also in smaller sites all across Germany in the 80 cities. But we are, of course, very keen on using public infrastructure, be it gas stations now building charging parks, for example. So, and it will be more and more be a mixed solution to maybe have some own charging infrastructure, but where it's suitable, also use external charging infrastructure. But it really depends on the circumstances that are being developed right now, and we are not sure at what point of time we'll have the perfect situation.
So how is the municipality of Hamburg involved in this system and in this change?
Well, of course, on the one level is they have their climate goals. So we pay into what the city of Hamburg wants to achieve in terms of CO2 reduction. But also when it comes down to working with the city of Hamburg in terms of being allowed to run a charging park, in terms of fire safety, in terms of being allowed to build such a park. So, and to be honest, between us, it was not easy because what we experienced that authorities in Germany are not super experienced with those kind of projects yet, and they themselves have lots of questions. So it's not an easy process from what you need to discuss, but also it's not a very fast process, because if the authorities run into questions they don't have any answers for, it of course takes long for them to make up their mind what they want. So it was a joint process, I would say. And of course, we are hoping that there's more experience from the authority side, because it will not be the last charging park we build. So for us, as a provider covering all of Germany, we have 10,000 vehicles in operation. We, of course, need to scale and blueprint things. And this would be very helpful to have a better experience on the other side of the table.
So is this a public-private partnership?
No, it's completely private. But it's also something we're looking into, because if you look from a sustainability point of view, it's of course a pity that we cannot use the charging points all day long. Like, it should run 24/7 and charge electric vehicles, regardless if it's ours or somebody else's. But also there, regulation in terms of who can access your site, insurance topics, all those kind of things are not suitable yet to open it for the public. So there's lots of work to be done from different parties.
Can you speak a little bit about these challenges that you have to overcome regarding the idea and the reality in practice?
I talked previously about preferring blueprints, and this is what we would like to do. But it's a good point, because as you can imagine, every city is different. So even if we want to tackle only the city center, we have in Germany medieval cities, small streets, not even suited for vehicles. We have different cities, different setups. And also we have not one single vision of the cities, what a sustainable future for the city will look like. Some say, okay, we don't want to have any cars. Some say, okay, we just want to ban combustion engine. Some want only bicycle infrastructure. So it's really difficult for us to blueprint this and roll it out all across Germany, because every time we have to adjust it. So we came up with a toolbox, so to say. So we have parts of the solution, but we need to individually mix them for each city, which of course is for us a lot of effort.
What do the cities, and especially Hamburg, what do they gain? Not just ecologically, but is there any financial gain?
No, a financial gain is not there. I mean, one part would be probably that we pay into their climate goals, and they don't. If we if we take over one part, they don't have to pursue it on other ends. But no, it's no financial link.
If we actually introduce this in Ljubljana, how would you suggest us to motivate the city, the mayor, the inhabitants?
Well, I think one great thing about logistics and last mile logistics is it's visible. It's the vehicle that comes to your door, to your house, delivers the parcels into your hands, and you can see and feel what impact it has if you have an electric vehicle or even a bicycle delivering your parcels. So I think it's something very visible in the street, and this also can be, I think, a great motivator for other people not connected to the specific logistic situation, because if they see the city is turning more sustainable because they are electric vehicles and you can feel it, that you can hear it, that it's better. It's not as noisy, it's not polluting. Bicycles are even not standing on the streets anymore. And I think this is a great, it can be a great tool to motivate people and show progress also. And I think the logistic companies are ready to implement such projects. It's not easy, but the better the city is also clear on what they want to achieve. And if you can really have a good partnership, then it's a great success, I think.
Would you be willing to help any Slovenian city to introduce this system?
Of course, we are also willing to share our experiences because, as you already probably noticed, we cannot achieve our goals on our own. We need partners, if it be it the cities, be it the manufacturers, be it any other parties. So it's a team effort in the end. And of course, we want to share our experiences because progress needs to be made anywhere, not only in Germany.
So, Mr. Florian Abel, thank you very much for the interview.
Thank you.